Shalom. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shati from the Chicago camp coming back to you with what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And I'm going to try not to make this one too long because this is a great video and it goes straight to the point. All right. And it's entitled Examining Illinois' Economic Collapse and the Mass Exodus of Their Wealthy Residents. And, you know, I'm going to just let this play. Maybe bring out one or two scriptures and then close it out.
Welcome to Silver Report Uncut. That's Daddy's intro. Thank you guys. Subscribe for more. Now, I wanted to cover a recent poll about Illinois. Now, we've been tracking this recession. We've been tracking this exodus of citizens that have been leaving. Of course, it's concerning. And literally, just a year ago, we see that half of the people in Illinois that considered moving away. What's actually shocking is that the results from this recent survey done by the University of Illinois Springfield, it revealed that more than 6 in 10 residents in Illinois, they want to move out of the state. And the number one reason they cited for wanting to move? High taxes. You guessed it. This reason was cited by 27% of those who considered a move within the past year. Reason number 2 was the government and their policies. That was 17%. The move to better weather, it happened to be third at 15%. We remember how cold it got last year. What else is interesting is that respondents that reported a household income of more than $100,000 a year, they were nearly 10 percentage points higher than other income groups to say that they considered moving out of the state. But for those that were reporting a household income that was lower than $45,000, they happen to be the least likely, probably because they can't imagine saving up enough money to be able to move due to the high taxes and rents. So get this. Those who are able to afford to move, also those who contribute the most to taxes, they have the greatest desire to leave. They're capable, they're willing. Like I said, things are starting to deteriorate quickly. And you know, the conversation recently has been on increasing taxes or more fair taxes. You know, I think they better give this poll some consideration. In fact, in Springfield, they actually just passed 21 new or increased tax and fee hikes. They included a double gasoline tax. They also put out a record $40 billion state budget. And also, you add to that the $45 billion infrastructure plan they have in place. You see, they got big ideas. It's unfortunate that to accomplish them, they need to take an increasing amount of money. To which, the people who actually have the money they need, they're leaving. And they're leaving fast. So the governor, J.B. Pritzker, he projected that the new income tax change, it would produce $3.4 billion, which they need really bad. But along with that, he promised $10 billion in new spending that would supposedly be funded through the tax. I think your accounting's a little off. Even more, analysis done by the Illinois Policy Institute, it showed that the tax rates that were actually proposed would fall around $2 billion short of that $3.4 billion they're currently estimating. That means that there's absolutely no way they're going to be able to deliver on these spending promises, and absolutely no way they're going to deal with the $137 billion pension problem without creating brand new taxes. I think sometimes we got to stop and think, how do we exist as a smaller city? Instead of always thinking, how do we make ourselves a larger one? Because I swear it seems like all of these plans and good intentions, they end up being the undoing of very beautiful places. Now, speaking of their pension problems, public employee pensions for Illinois, they now consume more than 1/4 of the entire state budget. Illinois spends more on pensions than any other state. They increased that spending by 501% since 2000. Now, their economic problems don't stop there. We also see that they have cut state services by 1/3 during the same time period. Now, the pensions, of course, they've driven the property tax increases and service cuts in communities across Illinois. the pension funds, they were increasingly intercepting these state funds, while at the same time other cities have begun cutting city workers or other emergency personnel just to be able to make pension payments. So the current drive is to change current law to enable them to implement new taxes. But it seems as if the largest disagreement in their house happens to be the spending. Now, it'd be different if they were only thinking about moving out of the state, but during the past 5 years, Illinois has been one out of only 2 states that have consecutively lost population. In fact, they lost 157,000 residents during this time. But the new estimates, they come out in December, and current projections show that they're going to make the 6th consecutive year of population loss. Unfortunately, the percentage of people that are now responding that they have a desire to move out of the state is already increasing. And this is what it comes down to, communication. But it's unfortunate the only thing they listen to is people worth over $1 million. Alright, thank you guys for stopping by and joining us here at the Silver Report Uncut. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe.
And there you have it. You know, we are specifically here in Illinois. This is what we have to deal with here. You know, there's also a rumor going around that I'm not sure if it's one of Lori Lightfoot's new ideas or somebody else that's close in her inner circle, but they're thinking about also doing a city tax, a 3.5 city tax. Now, I'm not sure if it was for all people living in Chicago or people who were city workers, but yet and still, I mean, that's ridiculous. So when you think about it, if this is true, that means you would have to pay a state tax, Cook County tax, tax on your goods, and then you will have to pay 3.5 something percent city tax. Man, that's ridiculous. And then on top of that, as he said, they continually to keep raising property taxes. All right, there's another rumor out there that if possible, and if they can manage it, they, meaning the politicians, all right, they want to get your what you pay for your mortgage. They want to get your property taxes damn near close to that. So, I mean, you talk about at the end of the day, you have nothing. You will literally have nothing. Even if you make $100-some thousand a year, you will have nothing. And let's see, gold. Okay, this is James. James 5. And I'm going to start at the top. This is James 5:1. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." All right, because you have to remember that ever since the housing bubble burst in 2008, on top of all these other bubbles, the car, student loan, everything else, there's a lot of people that were rich that are now poor, so-called middle class, and they haven't been able to bounce back. Okay, and we're about to hit another real estate bubble that's going to be worse than anything ever imagined. All right. And it says, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. It says, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. Ye have reaped treasure together for the last days. And you have to ask yourself, how are these riches corrupted? Because, first of all, they're gotten by ill-gotten gains. And two, because you're defrauding your neighbor. I shouldn't say two, but because you're defrauding your neighbor of their wages. Okay, by the time somebody pays state tax, county tax, property tax, tax on food, and whatever else it is, all right, if you were to sit down and seriously calculate how much money is taken out of your check for taxes, and that's just taxes. We're not even including Medicare, Social Security, whatever your state version of Medicaid is. Okay, we're not even talking about that. We're just going strictly with taxes. I guarantee you, if you add up how much tax is taken out of your paycheck, I guarantee you it's down there probably like 30%, depending on how much you make. Okay, and that's not even coming in, that's not even getting on guys who have different life situations. Okay, alimony, child support, you know, whether they have health insurance or not, or health insurance for them and a family. You know, it's ridiculous. And it says, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. Yeah, the gold, the money system in this world is worthless. The dollar doesn't stretch the way it used to. I remember back in the day in the 80s, if you came to the store with $100, you had food for a month. These days, you go to the store with $100, you got food for a week. And that all depends, you know, what you buy. You know, if you start talking about you getting bottled water, then you're talking about maybe less than a week then. Maybe 5-6 days. Okay? It says, the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and ye shall eat your flesh as if it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. It says, behold, the hire of the laborers which have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Okay? Because you have all these people that are working at these jobs who have been at their jobs for 15, 20, 25 years, and they're not getting raises. Or if they are getting raises, they've decreased over the period of time. Okay, when they probably came to their job, their raise might have been 5%. And then over the next 5 years, they said, well, we got to cut back on this and that, so now it's 4%. Okay, then you fast forward the clock 5 more years. Okay, now we're going to about 2.5, or maybe 2 3/4, down to the point where it's 2. You know, that it's really hard. As I said before, somebody who makes $100,000, if this earth still has 2 or 3 more years, a person making $100,000 is going to be the working poor. Now, as hard as I know that's hard to believe, but that's the truth. If this earth has 2, 3, or 4 more years, somebody who makes $100,000 is going to be the working poor. All right. It says, which is of you kept back by fraud. And how is it kept back by fraud? As the Civil Report said, you got all these politicians sitting behind their desk making these unjust rules, seeing how they can further inflict more burden on the working populace so they can cover up a deficit that they created in the first place. Because everybody knows that their city, their state, their province, wherever they live, they will have money if the politicians wouldn't keep stealing it. Or as they say, misappropriating the funds. And see, all this, all this plotting and scheming to further oppress the people is gotten to the point where, as the scripture said, now these prayers are being heard by the Most High. And as it says in Galatians, and I'm going to end it on this. It says, be not deceived. Galatians 6:7, be not deceived. The Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Okay, so you have all these politicians who are getting over, as the old saying goes, as fat rats. The Most High is hearing the cries of the poor because these fat rats are getting over on them by any means necessary. And so the Most High is steering these spirits up. That's why you constantly see these protests in different cities around America. And that's why you have these riots going on in these countries across the world. Ecuador, Chile, Venezuela, Hong Kong, France, Greece, Croatia. You got protests going on everywhere. Why? Because you have people in high places doing high levels of wickedness to the poor and oppressed. And this is why this huge reckoning is coming upon the face of the earth. And believe me, these politicians are not going to get away with it. They are not. The Most High has something in store for them, because all they've done their whole life is satisfy their own lust, for lack of a better phrase. So it should be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years. But that's all I wanted to say on this. And once again, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. With that, we're going to say shalom.